All right, I think we are live. It's almost past 10 a.m. here in Eastern Standard Time, and in India time, I think it is 8:30, past 8:30 p.m. Evening. So, welcome everyone. We are excited to have a, a guest today, and I will briefly introduce her just in a second. But I think that today's topic it's very important. I know we covered this in the past briefly, but now today we have a special guest, and we want to like emphasize on this topic more and more as we get uh, start preparing SMBs towards the EU, India EU trade deals that we discussed in past podcast, as well as entire global trade is also going towards ESG. So, with that being said, um, let me welcome our guest, who's someone who did not just study the energy transition. I would say she built it from the ground up, literally from her own kitchen. So I welcome Vishakha Chandhere. She's an engineer by training and entrepreneur by conviction, and the founder of OrjaBox. It's a Pune-based clean energy venture that is making solar cooking and biogas uh, technology accessible and affordable for everybody, everyday Indians. And what makes her perspective unique for our audience today is she's not just a policy analyst sitting in a boardroom. She's an SMB founder herself and who has navigated state grants and government policies, sustainability compliance, and real work market adoption. So I'll welcome her today, and thank you for your time, ma'am, Vishakha. Um, do you want to add anything else before we start in today's discussion?
Thank you for the generous introduction, and I'm too excited to have this discussion. And I hope we all are able to uh, bring some value to the ESG discussion for MSMEs. So I'm excited to have this
Absolutely.
discussion.
Absolutely. Yeah. And our goal of each podcast is definitely through this discussion, add some values, some good intellectual discussion, which guides SMBs to a better future. With me also, again, my another podcast host is there. Shantanu, the stage is
Yeah.
yours. Please go ahead and then.
Yes, thanks, Aniket, and a very warm welcome, Vishakha. I actually wanted to just stay quiet and you do all the listening today. We have been talking on this podcast for 19 episodes now, but it feels really special that you are able to attend today and talk about some really interesting topics, especially this one, which is, I would say, something good to have. MSMEs feel that it's something good to have, something that can be pushed to tomorrow, something that we will take a look at, when other things, other fires have been put out, so on and so forth. But the reality is different, and really excited to have you here and see how what that reality is for MSMEs. So my name is Shantanu Kelkar. I've been talking to you all as this podcast host, as a attendee of this podcast for, as I said, more than 19 episodes now. I am a founder at 1.618 Business Consulting. My background is into working with automation companies in the past, and with this business consulting business, I look forward to working with small and medium businesses here in India, even globally, to really help them design, develop, and deploy strategies and marketing plans for their respective businesses. So I won't take much time. I'll leave the floor open for you know picking Vishakha's brains today. Just looking forward to the discussion. Thank you.
Sure.
Absolutely. Thank you, Shantanu. Right. And again, here it's me again. I'm Aniket, as some of you already know. been working in US for more than 15 years now. Um, Specifically, I have expertise in supply chain, automation, as well as complex project management. I have worked in different Fortune 500 companies ranging from Cummins, automotive manufacturer, Amazon, as now in right now supporting one project related to pharmaceutical company Eli Lilly. So with that being said, like Shantanu said, I'm equally excited to have this discussion with Vishakha, who has an immense experience in ESG field and also a lot of ground reality, like some nuances as well as some practical experience. So I would love to pick her brain on that. So with that being said, let's dive into the discussion today. We have uh, so uh, Shantanu, you want to start this one, or you want me to cover? That's fine.
No, let's start with this. So, what we'll be covering today is the topic around ESG, environmental, social, and governance area for the uninitiated, and specifically what it means for small and medium businesses or MSMEs right now. So, as you know, Aniket, you have also mentioned. Our guest today, Vishakha, she has seen both sides of the world. I think she has worked with MSMEs to develop their ESG plans. She has also seen the policy side of those things, right? So, what we want to uncover today is really all the nuances, peel the onion sort of on the ESG topic for MSMEs. As I mentioned, it's something that usually goes on the back burner, but then if you really focus on it, then it can actually emerge as a competitive mode, or it can actually emerge as a differentiator for MSMEs,
Correct.
right? So we'll go through that. We'll uncover some of those points, and really looking forward to bringing in some real life examples. If Vishakha can share, and even Aniket, I'm sure you have experienced that in your vast experience.
Yep.
So maybe to start with, Vishakha, the first question, let's get in right into that.
Sure.
Is really, as I said, most of the MSMEs today that we speak to, they say that ESG is for the big companies. You know, it's for the Tatas and the Reliances of the world, the multinationals of the world. We, as MSMEs, may not be too concerned about it. We are a small firm, a manufacturing firm, and why does this? Why should we bother about this? You know, why does it apply to us? So, how do you what do you want to say to those people who have this kind of an approach to ESG upfront?
Uh, when it comes to ESG reporting, the mandate initially was definitely for the larger companies.
Mhm.
But as people have started talking about greening the supply chain,
Mhm.
uh, due to that concept of, that all your vendors have to be environmentally conscious, their supply chain has to be as sustainable as possible, because of the greening of supply chain concept, and because every large industry also wants to reduce its footprint.
Mhm.
They have kind of started now uh, requesting their vendors, who are generally MSMEs, to uh, be ESG compliant, to be environment and social and governance compliant. Uh, but yes, as you say, uh, ESG seems too big for, or too complicated for small companies.
Mhm.
Usually because they feel that they do not have enough resources to
Mhm.
address ESG issues, or to even hire a consultant who can help them navigate the ESG scenario.
Mhm.
And uh, the templates or the data collection seems very overwhelming.
Mhm.
So when most of the MSMEs are actually working on survival mode,
Mhm.
there are day-to-day issues that which are burning issues, which are the most urgent issues, and then to do something additional sounds overwhelming.
Mhm.
So that's why they are trying to still navigate the scenario or understand that what
Mhm.
is it that we can do, not that they don't want to do, if it comes to
Mhm.
compliance or if it comes to uh, you know, kind of be eligible to be a vendor to a larger company.
Correct.
So that is
Mhm.
something that MSMEs will have to eventually look into. When I say eventually, it's not too far.
Mhm.
With yeah, with things like CBM and the other government mandates which require some compliance. Having said that, one thing is very important which I want to mention here, right at the beginning. It's not that MSMEs are not doing it at all.
Mm.
Most of the things are actually available with MSMEs. It is mainly the presentation of their efforts or the work that they are doing in that particular format. So,
Mm.
just to share a quick example with one of the MSMEs, they were having fairly good practices about hiring.
Mm-hmm.
They were having fairly uh, good women representation in their board,
Mm-hmm.
though they were not mandated by CSR
Mhm.
policy or under the CSR this thing, they were still doing some voluntary CSR work, or they were taking up their social responsibility. So there are many MSMEs who are actually already doing a lot of things, just
Mm.
that it is not structured.
Mm.
So just getting overwhelmed by ESG and thinking that it's not for us, or uh, uh, stepping away from it because it sounds overwhelming.
Correct.
Perhaps a better awareness about it will help them to step up and take all the benefits that ESG has to offer. So I hope I have
Right.
covered.
That's good. No, thank you for that really, really in-depth response, Vishakha. Yeah, that's exactly like when we started discussing about these ESG issues, like we were always wondering like why, like what is their pain point, what is the SMB's pain point, and why do they feel compelled to start working in this in this field and also take efforts and projects that lines up into this. So I have a one follow-up question. Since you mentioned and I know you have also worked with British High Commission 5 years ago. uh, how has the conversation changed when you were seeing at British High Commission 5 years ago versus what you are seeing on the ground with OrjaBox clients today? Is there any change in the conversations that you thought with the SMBs that you've seen with 5 years ago and what's happening now?
Uh, uh, to be very honest, when I was working with the High Commission, we never, ESG was not much talked about because we were working on the policy side on some other topics. So, ESG was not much discussed. However, companies were talking about climate change and its impact, but there was not much discussion uh, around the compliance part of it.
Mm-hmm.
There were companies who were aware about climate change. They were talking about the preparedness for climate change, but it was not really structured in that way.
Mhm.
Versus when we interact with a lot of organizations on ground and see the regulatory requirements, then I think the discussion has evolved over the years.
Oh.
It has evolved over the years. That is one major thing that I've noted, that earlier companies wanted to work in the clean environment sector. The drivers were something like maybe carbon credits or
Mhm.
uh, compliance aspects of, let's say, other schemes like environment, health, and safety related audits, or 14,000 ISO 14,000 series uh, certifications. ESG, I think, has evolved over the past 8 to 10 years.
Mm.
Uh, and now it is now we can see that it is percolating to the MSME sector also.
Hmm.
Mm.
So
Mm.
I think it is evolving in a for good for everyone.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you for.
How Yeah, I was about to say this, Aniket. I think Vishaka, you have captured essentially the crux of what we are displaying here, as in why the ESG portion is no longer optional for MSMEs. You mentioned that the conversations have also evolved, and of course, there have to be some drivers, some pull factors from the industry that will uh, drive these MSMEs towards adopting these practices. So I think what we have listed here is what you actually mentioned too. I would just probably want to pick your thoughts on one specific aspect of that, which is access to global markets.
Hmm.
Now with the EU-India free trade agreement, and uh, one big part of that FTA that we covered in the last two podcasts as well was the uh, carbon border management, that whole framework, CBAM framework. So that keeps coming up during conversations whenever we are talking about exporters. So if you look at exporters, MSME exporters as a unit, then what is it that they need to be aware of now, especially from an ESG perspective, and with the CBAM lurking in the near future?
Yes, so unlike the European markets, we do not have a clear-cut mandate for MSMEs to do
Mm.
ESG. However, it is inbuilt in most of the schemes. So, being ESG compliant uh, in India for an MSME might mean that they have done, they are ISO 14000 certified,
Mm-hmm.
14064 certified, or they have some OSAS related certification, or they
Mhm.
have some EHS related certification, and they have their documentation ready
Mm.
around all of these certifications, licenses, if they are handling the way they are handling their waste and all of that. Uh, if they have any certifications, awards related to all of those things. So one SME, we know that they have continuously got the award for diversity and inclusion,
Mm.
whereas they were not reporting even on ESG.
Mm.
So, they need to get their work ready on what they're already doing. That's one. Second, something like there are some government schemes on green investment, green finance. So, if they have got any funding under those schemes, that would also help them to showcase to the EU market that we are and green company, or we are working on a sustainable mode.
Mm.
However, if you talk about getting a certification kind of a thing for ESG for
Mm.
MSMEs,
Mm.
at least that is not really available. Like you cannot, like big companies, they when they are ESG compliant, they follow the either GHG protocol, or they would follow
Mm.
the ISO 14064, or they can
Mm.
do the carbon disclosure project, or any relevant any other reporting formats they follow and do. But for the smaller companies, and then they publish the report, they get it verified. For smaller companies, it is difficult to get those kind of data first and
Mm.
foremost. So
Mm.
ESG Lite is one document, BRSR Lite is one document which probably might help them. That's one.
Okay.
And second is there are no verification companies into this sector yet.
Mm.
So even if you were to showcase to your EU counterparts that you
Mm.
are ESG compliant, verification will still, I think, be a big question mark. Like
Big question.
how how data transparent are you? Uh,
Mm.
uh, are there any data gaps in what you are reporting?
Okay.
Yes.
So, though there are BRSR Lite and other reporting documents which MSMEs can follow,
Mm.
Verification will definitely come from the government schemes or the government licenses, and perhaps ISO audits kind of things that they can
Mm-hmm.
show as the verified documents.
Got
So
it.
Okay.
that I feel that that perhaps would be more useful way to show that they're ESG compliant.
Interesting. Interesting.
I,
So, and I think, yeah, go ahead.
go ahead, Shantanu.
Yeah, no. So, we will come to the BRSR point as well, and we will also cover your favorite topic, Aniket, being in supply chain all this while.
Yeah.
But I wanted to, probably take your help to bust a myth, if it is so, that I have heard in the past, working with, in my previous organization, when we were dealing with clients who are working on ESG, that in India, particularly at present, ESG is not about actually showing the outcome, but showing that you have the process to measure something.
Hmm.
So you don't have to show that I have reduced my carbon footprint from X to Y. You just have to show that I have a process which can potentially reduce my carbon footprint from X to Y. So is that the reality on ground, or it's something else from your perspective?
I don't think so. It's like that. Yes, if you're a beginner, like if your organization is doing it for the first time, then perhaps yes, that you need to show that you have a process to do something.
Hmm.
But there's something uh, for which you create a baseline.
Hmm.
Okay, so first 2 3 years you can say that okay, you're still setting up your processes, you're still setting up your baseline, and you're understanding the nature of business, you're understanding the ESG requirements, you're understanding your vendors requirements, or you're understanding your customers requirements for that matter. And
Right.
you're trying to then set goals for yourself for carbon reduction, or for measuring your governance metrics, or
Mm.
for measuring all the ESG metrics. You then
Mm.
set targets, and
Right.
ESG is not a 1 year activity, it is a
Yeah.
journey.
Correct.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah. So if there are companies who want to enjoy the journey and not look at the targets, then perhaps for
Mm.
them it is where they can say that okay, we have a process and we are happy with the process. We don't really care about the outcome. But I believe that eventually you have to set the targets, and you have to make sure that you're achieving those targets, and
Mm.
you're also measuring it with your bottom line, that how is ESG helping you to improve your bottom line, how are you
Mm.
making profits, how are you helping the planet, how are you helping your people. So
Interesting.
yes, maybe initially for first 2 3 years,
Initially, they can show the
yes,
efforts, but then eventually they
yeah,
have to show the results.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, absolutely,
The
absolutely,
KPIs would matter because at the end of the day, I think
yeah,
when the initial I mean the business contracts are signed, they would want to
yeah,
see the progress, right? What
yeah,
was your
yeah.
baseline? Have you improved your KPIs in relation to ESG, and what are you gonna do next to further
Yeah,
improve?
exactly. And otherwise, we have also seen a few companies who have the same report for many years.
Hmm.
Ah, exactly. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, there are no changes in the report at all. So,
Trying to game the
so
system.
yeah, so that is greenwashing
Yeah,
in ESG.
yeah, I heard that word too. Yeah.
Yeah,
Very, very good question, and thank you for adding that details, Vishaka. Now, just like I want to move forward with the next slide, and I know this slide is also very pertinent. I think uh, Shantanu did little bit press on this topic earlier, that why they struggle with ESG, right? And I know uh, we have heard these stories, like there is too much documentation loading, limited resources, as you said, Vishakha, earlier. Um, but then I would like to pick your brain, like in reality, like how are they coping up with this, right? How are they? I know the struggles are there, but what are their, like, if you want to rate all these four struggles from number 1 to 4 uh, are like, which one would you prioritize first, and how, if you are in SMB, and how would you go about it?
Um, First and foremost is awareness deficit.
Mm-hmm.
That is the starter. Like, if
Mm-hmm.
you are aware, you will do it, or at least you will intend to find some ways out to do it. Okay.
Mhm.
So awareness deficit is definitely, it has to be the number one thing. That is it even going to benefit me?
Correct.
Now, since we are talking about ESG, but I have seen this since energy audit days also. So
Mm.
when energy audit was mandated for many companies, they just didn't want to do it. They just didn't have the resources to do it,
Mhm.
which was like the basic thing. It was not as complex as ESG. So
Mm.
awareness definitely is the starter for it, then and with awareness, when people know that okay, it's not compulsory, then
Mm.
again there is a mindset. Okay, whenever there is compulsion, we'll think about it. We know
Mhm.
for it we know it now, thank you, but we'll take action when it is compulsory.
Mm.
Okay.
Mhm.
It's too early for us to invest our time and money into something that is not mandatory.
Got it.
Mhm.
And I mean, yes, they are not doing it on purpose. It's because of the limited resources. So I would say mandate gap is and limited resources are the reason, two reasons why they would want to step back and do
Mhm.
that.
Mhm.
Complexity overload, I would feel that because you have you have ways to simplify things, so it's not that complex. Like whatever data you have, you can easily punch into the of available templates. So there are too
Mhm.
many templates which have made things easier for small scale companies.
Mhm.
Uh, and once you put your mind to it, perhaps you can do it. There are a lot of uh, online resources available to help you uh, to help you in doing it. So uh, yes, it is a perception that it is complex, but once you start doing it, perhaps it becomes easier. And with a couple of years, you know the game, how to do it. So,
So
Mm.
specifically on that point, I think you mentioned BRSR Lite. So
yeah,
that be a good example of how the
yeah,
policy makers have made it a little easier for them to navigate this overall
yes,
ESG, environment. So
right, right.
using BRSR Lite, do you want to just spend a moment on explaining what BRSR Lite is for the?
Yeah, so business reporting, business responsibility sustainability reporting was something as core was released by SEBI, and it was
Mhm.
mandated for first 1,000 listed companies. Uh,
Mm.
However, with the greening of supply chain mandate
Mm.
and the international requirements, there the document has been simplified to BRSR Lite, which non-listed companies can also use to
Mm.
punch in their data, and they can have a report in the same BRSR format ready.
Mhm.
However, again, verification of that data is not yet. There's no system to verify it. But yes, there at least a document is available where you can uh, do the reporting or
Mhm.
start understanding how
Start.
the reporting is done. Yeah. And that applies almost to, I think, to all the reporting formats. See, the difference that has happened over the year is earlier also people did require environmental licenses, or the license to
Mhm.
operate did check your pollution control norms. It did check how you are whether you're following waste disposal or not. The labor laws governed how you're hiring labor, and
Mhm.
also the governance aspects was covered under the company's registration, or the companies act. So all of
Mhm.
these things are the companies are doing in some or the other form. It is
Ah,
a matter of putting it together in one document.
got it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in extending that question, right? Since we we did touch on the supply chain. I mean, in my supply chain work, right, whether at Cummins or Amazon, we have used ESG questionnaires coming from large buyers to their
Mm.
tier one and tier two suppliers years before any government regulations, at least in US. But I would like to see from your point, like based on like your experience working with SMBs and MSMEs in India. Uh, are there any Indian SMEs getting actual contract rejections over ESG deficiencies yet, or it is still more of a watch out for the future warning?
Uh, Largely, it is watch out for the future. I just know one or two cases where they wanted to kind of be eligible for a contract overseas, and
Mm.
because they did not have the document, or they were given extra time that you please, get some certification done or show us
Mm.
some work that you're doing on the ESG part,
Hmm.
so that you can apply for the tender or be eligible for the tender. So, just a couple of cases, not many.
Got it. Okay, that's good to know.
Mm.
All
And I
right.
think you mentioned the yeah, the BRSR light for MSMEs. That should also then probably help them manage their
Yeah.
resources better, right? It's being light and being not too demanding as a compliance.
Correct.
Source requirements for those could also be easier for them to take on for the
Y-
MSMEs.
Yes, yes, yes. Mainly, it is about the data collection, which is the biggest pain point in even in large industries.
Hmm.
So, as long as you have digitized and automated all of your systems, it is a difficult task. If you have
Correct.
everything digitized and automated, then perhaps you have a lot of data at just a single click that is available on your dashboards.
Correct.
However, if they are in MSMEs, which still have handwritten receipts, the employee records are handwritten, for them it is a big task.
Correct.
Right. I think you have touched on raw nerve there, because again we have seen a lot of these things come back to this point that it's all good, but then we don't have the data to prove that we are doing this, or we don't
Yeah.
have the data to build upon and
Yeah.
really use this as a differentiator.
Yeah,
And
just I would like to add, it's not that we don't have the data.
yeah,
It is
it's not in that documented in
yeah,
that
yeah,
fashion.
it's
Yeah.
not documented well. It is
Mm.
dispersed all over the company,
Hmm.
and it is there are people who are holding the data close to their heart.
Correct.
Mm.
Yeah, so
On that point, let me
yeah.
add one example because working with Amazon also here in US, we have seen that a lot of these distribution center have like refrigeration units, right? There are groceries that need to be frozen or kept under refrigeration temperature. And for ESG, we need to track the refrigeration data because the carbon monoxide
HFCs.
and refrigeration level and all that. And
Yeah.
people were resistant to like put that data into the database. I mean, we have given training, and I mean, 1 year I just my team struggled to get that data. We had to literally go travel to that site, hand hold those things, like show them this is how you do it. But they were still they were always saying, oh, this is not this is good to have, not must to have for us. We have bigger fishes to fry. We are not going to work on this. That's flat out answer, and that's the reality. I know there has been some political changes later on, but the previous government was very open for the uh, ESG. They were very like kind of mandating that, but now the things have changed. Regardless of that, I 100% agree with you that I think there has to be some kind of a mandate to push that this through,
Mm.
and also they need to understand that these ESG will no longer be just the checklist item for them. This will could be a differentiator, as Shantanu said, or that can be a moat. You can build a moat, company moat around it. If you check all these requirement, there is no other supplier who can meet that, and that essentially gives you a front place in the business discussions with any other suppliers outside India. Maybe it is Europe or any other. Yeah.
Right.
All
So I
right.
think the key takeaway for me till this point is, you can use SMBs can use things like BRSR Lite to
Mm.
be prepared to take on these things when the mandates or when the compliances become more mandatory, because these things are they are like those oncoming trains. You can't judge the speed.
Yeah.
They approach you faster than you can think of.
Yeah.
And I think BRSR Lite is a good starting point. At least keep the curry ready, and as and when the order comes, you can create a Punjabi dish
Yeah.
out of that. That's how, for foodies, is a good
Yeah.
example to quote.
Absolutely.
Right. Yeah. So, all right. I think let's move to the opportunity stack, Aniket. I
Yes.
think that's an interesting part, because that gets into the real details of what is actually available with the government schemes today, which SMEs can readily start getting benefit out of. Right.
Yep.
So, and I think Vishaka, you very rightly and clearly pointed out that there's lack of awareness about these things. So what we have here is a good list of at least the policy frameworks that the government has, and I don't think it is as widely known today as it should be, right? uh, do you want to point out any specific scheme which is probably the most important one, or the first one that they can go to?
Um, I would say the scheme for SIDB perhaps
Mm,
is
Mm.
something that most companies should look at, because it actually talks about a lot of aspects like energy efficiency, renewable energy,
mm,
clean production, and waste management. So it does cover a lot of things. Like the PRSF scheme does talk about ESCO partnerships, but they are not evolved as much
Ah.
in India
mm,
yet. So even during the energy efficiency activities, we have seen that there are very few ESCOs who have efficiently led the ESCO route implementation of energy efficiency programs.
mm,
Uh, to improve their success, I think uh, a lot of needs to be done from both sides, like the government side as well as the implementation side. And
mm,
again, even within the financing of the MSMEs, uh, there needs to be a lot of awareness about all of these schemes. Like if you walk up to a bank and talk about any of these schemes, even for OrjaBox, there are a lot of schemes that are that are announced by the government. But once you walk to a financial institution and try to take the benefit of it, most
mm.
of the times documentation is a big barrier.
Hmm.
And if you are
Okay.
following the ESG route, you always have the best possible documentation with you. So that
Mm,
is another reason why you should try to do the documentation in the ESG format, because
mm.
you can get better access to these schemes because your documentation part will be ready.
Okay.
So
Good point.
yeah, so,
And
that is one.
yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Yes. Yeah, no. So I was just saying, so that is one thing. And two, there are too many government schemes for startups, for MSMEs these days. To navigate all the schemes and see which one suits you the most, uh,
Mm,
and then take the benefit of it,
mm,
is something which you need to sit down with the investors, with your banks or your other
mm,
financial institutions like SIDBI, and get an understanding that what is it that suits your work or your business category the most.
Hmm.
okay.
There are some industries who are just started, like they're just about to start, like one
Mm,
year 2 year old companies. Can they go for energy efficiency just in the second year when they
mm,
have already started with the new equipment?
Good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
mm,
So it is basically about understanding your nature of work and navigating all the different schemes that the government
Mm.
comes up with, and then see what suits, uh,
Mm.
what is the most suitable, what is the best thing for you to access.
Got it.
Just as a side note, interesting that you mentioned sort of an introspection on what your type of work is, and then decide what kind of scheme you want to go through. So, do you think that it is more, I would say, relevant for the manufacturing sector today, more than probably the the trading sector, or the R&D sector? Uh, these kind of schemes.
Uh, no, I don't really differentiate it in that way.
Mhm.
Just to give an example, there are a lot of government grants coming for people who are doing R&D on packaging materials.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
if they are trying to reuse, let's say, agricultural waste to derive a new packaging material,
Okay.
okay. So that research and development activity, when it comes to commercialization stage,
Hmm.
at that point there would be certain schemes that, under all of these, let's say the spice scheme, that
Right.
would be one of the most suitable schemes for them, because it talks about reusing and recycling practices, and they can have a network, or they can develop an ecosystem around that.
Right.
So
Right.
yeah.
So that again, I think the takeaway is that you need not be a manufacturer only. You need not think that I just I'm not doing any major value add. I'm not manufacturing products, which means that I won't be eligible for this, or I won't need to be compliant with this. That's not the case. You just need to make display, or you just need to make sure that you are wherever you are having an impact through the value chain, are you green enough, uh,
Yeah,
when you do that, and when you do that value add, and if you are, then there are benefits and schemes with the government that can help you promote that piece.
Correct.
absolutely. And
And
also one important point is that though there are a lot of government schemes, a lot of private investment is active.
hmm,
Mhm.
So the private investment, or the private investors probably do not look at all these aspects of green, or
Mm.
ESG compliant, or
Right.
those aspects at all. So it again depends on what type of financing you're choosing for your organization.
Mm. Interesting. Okay. Right. And I
and
think we have the Z certification.
yes,
Yeah.
Sorry, you had a question, Aniket?
yes. I mean, I would like to touch base since we're covering this slide. What are the common reasons the applications of the SMEs or MSMEs get rejected? Is it? I know you mentioned the documentation was it, but is there anything like eligibility or something else that is their top rejection reason?
Honestly, I've not. I do not have statistical data on how
Okay.
many applications get rejected through the financial institutions or not. But through my network, whatever little information I have, based on that, I can say it is mainly the timing of the scheme, that the window is open for a shorter while. So if you are there
Um,
at that time, and of course the documentation part
got it.
is
Mm.
important.
Okay, that's good to know. Go ahead, Chandru. You want to cover anything before we jump to
No,
the
I
next?
think as part of this piece about government schemes, I think the Z zero effect, zero defect, um,
Hmm.
that framework is quite important
Yeah,
in this case, right? So let's spend a bit more time on that before we move on to the group
Sure.
framework. So zero effect, zero defect. In your experience, Vishaka, what does it actually change for a business?
Hmm.
Is it just another certificate on the wall, or does it really benefit them in opening new opportunities?
it any certification definitely helps businesses to uh, get the competitive edge, especially
Mm.
when they're in a competitive market, and So that definitely helps them to stand out. And their personal benefit out of it is that if they have better systems, if they have better quality products, so they have lesser rejects, cost and time wise, they are having advantage. So that can be then uh, translated into the product cost, or they can pass on that benefit to their customers. So that basically is the net idea behind the zero effect and defect scheme. However, when it comes to environmental management systems for MSMEs, again, they do not know where to get it verified from. Like,
Hmm.
uh, say, for example, again, if we take the example of a packaging industry, uh, whatever waste they generate, and if they're giving it to the local urban body for disposal, or if they're disposing it as per the prescribed format, that is business as usual for them. It doesn't occur to them that they can be awarded for it,
Hmm.
right? So having those environmental management systems, like what is the impact of your waste if you give it to your regular waste handler, uh, versus if you give it to some NGO who's going to recycle it into something.
It's like if you have it, flaunt it. That way that
Yeah,
helps.
exactly, exactly, exactly. I mean, if you're doing it, if you know you have waste, what is the best you can do with your waste so that you can flaunt it?
Right.
There you go. And I know there has been some efforts, like if you're using too much plastic, there has been some plants that convert the plastic into, like into oil or any other. I know. I mean, it is still not carbon neutral,
Hmm.
but you can actually, like, there are several ways you can convert the waste into the usable, reusable thing. Uh,
Right.
so that's something I guess the SMBs needs to think about. Uh, on this topic, I want to like touch base on the realistic timeline to get that Z certification. Either it is bronze, silver, gold. Can you give us some like idea about what what has been realistically achievable for SMBs? Is it weeks, months, or years?
Anywhere between 2 to 3 years, I would say,
Okay.
to start with, because to get the systems on place uh, to quantify waste, especially if we are talking about waste and carbon footprinting, again, finding out all the emission sources, calculating them, verifying them. uh, that does, maybe you do not have a good calculator at hand, carbon calculator at hand.
Hmm.
So if you have access to a good calculator, carbon calculator that suits to your industry volume, then perhaps your task is much easier. But
Correct.
either get it developed from someone, get it customized, or use the actual calculations, just an Excel sheet maybe. Doing all of that, getting the confidence to go and apply for the certification, that does take a
Is
while.
important.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, but
Okay.
I think it's worth the effort eventually.
yeah, definitely, definitely worth it.
All right. Just watching the time, I think 50 minutes. We want to cover some important slide, but this one, financing and support mechanism, that's also a very good information for SMEs. Vishakha, do you want to uh, briefly cover this? Any important things that you want to highlight for SMEs?
No, as again, the same thing, there are too many schemes available. There are too
Hmm.
many schemes. So just going through the landscape of all the schemes and finding out what best suits you, and then approaching that, I feel, is the better strategy.
Hmm.
But just an awareness that yes, there are schemes available to help you, and
Yeah.
go to the right kind of financing institutions or financing advisors
Hmm.
who
Mm.
will help you to get that kind of support officially, does help.
And
Right.
yeah, we'll be when we share this material, we'll be putting the contacts information. Obviously, your contact information will be there. So Anyone have SMBs have questions, they can directly reach out to you.
Mm.
But yeah, this is really good information. Thank you. Moving on, the next, like, grow framework. I think this is, in our podcast we generally provide a framework to our SMBs, like how to think about any problem and how to attack any problem and come up with some solutions. This is the one thing that we came up with: govern, resource, optimize, and win. um, Chandra, you want to
Yeah,
let
so
this?
as you mentioned, there are just too many things to think about, or even become aware about. There is a possibility that MSMEs can get into that information overload kind of
Hmm.
a situation, right? So what we usually try to do is just break it down into a clear roadmap that they can follow in the next number of weeks or months in a phased manner, and reach a point where they are in a position to completely utilize and leverage all these things. So in this case, govern, resource, optimize, when govern part would be assigning a champion. So you start by just knowing that this needs to be done, and you have a single point of contact, sort of an SPOC, who is an ESG champion in your organization, and that would be a person who is a conduit to all the external documentation as well as any internal data gathering exercises that need to be done. Um you stack your capital with the right kind of resources to put behind this particular organization, if you will. Even if you start with one person, you should know what kind of resources need to be put behind that person to help him or her apply for these kind of schemes and certifications, or even before that, understand what is the most relevant scheme that they want to go after. Once you have done that, then you optimize that the seed that you have put in. You execute on that limited resources and show the ROI in the first phase. I think what we have always stressed so far is, uh, don't chew more than you can bite, or the other way around if I am getting it wrong. But essentially, don't start too big. Start small. Show some quick wins, which is run some pilots, show that I'm able to execute some of these ESG compliances with the limited resources that I have today, and then optimize on that. Just fuel the engine with more funds as you start showing those wins. I think data becomes important in the optimize phase, days 61 to 90, uh, which I think you already mentioned, Vishakha, is one of the roadblocks or stumbling blocks for the MSMEs. But this is the phase where they can really mature their data to a level where they can then leverage it in the later phases. And then finally, go for the big certifications. Start publishing your BRSR core or BRSR light reports. Present your credentials to the buyer. Start flaunting them, as we just mentioned, and then also start participating in premium bids
Hmm.
using these certifications. So that's on the win part. So does this does this sound practical or doable to you for any MSME?
Yeah, I think yes, that does sound doable. Uh, just one suggestion: if we can add a few more days for the awareness part of it.
Ah, very good point.
Yeah, they need to invest some time into to mm, to inspire themselves or to
Hmm.
set an aim as to what they're going to do, uh, whether they are planning to expand in other geographies, what are the requirements, ESG requirements of those geographies.
Yeah, we would
So,
add the A
yeah,
before G,
Yeah,
agro.
I would call it AV Grow, Avagro.
Agro. And that's but good point. I think the 30, 60 days, maybe 2 months ahead, they should. And listening to such this podcast will help them to bring that awareness. That is whole point of our, we having all this is bring up their awareness, helping them with some lot of information that is, and then fine tuning that information to know what does it really matters to them. Because I know there is a lot of chaos, there is a lot of information coming in. This is the podcast that gives them, like, in, like, hey, this is very critical and this is what you need to do. So yeah, good point. With that being said, let me go to the next slide. What could kill your ESG journey? There are certain risks that we highlighted, and there is a mitigation plan as well. As you can see, um, the compliance theater, that is the one thing, like, as you mentioned, Vishakha, a lot of like people, SMEs, they do take it as a ticking box without real transformation. But uh, in order to mitigate that risk, they need to really put some measurable targets or KPIs against, uh, for them, within certain achievable timeline. uh, and then they had to tie it at least one ESG outcome to their financial planning, which generally starts in the January or February. So this is the right time, I think, to discuss this, because since they are developing their AOP, annual operating plan, they have to set aside some resources as well as some measures that how they're gonna start measuring these outcomes. Uh, the second one is a scheme fatigue. Started, like, there is too much information, as we discussed. There is They want to, like, they get overburdened with all the information. They don't know where to start. So as we lay out the framework, grow framework, and we added now agro framework. Start with that. Start with the Z bronze. Start building your documentations, evidences, uh, in a very methodical manner. And if you need any help, reach out to uh, any of us. I know Vishakha, uh, ma'am's information is going to be there with this presentation. But yeah, I mean, reach out if you need any specific information, but start working on that today. And the last one is the done trap. uh, you know just getting the certification or filling up the BSR, right, feels like victory. Yes, it is a small win, but it is not a complete victory. You have to, start working on your, like, next steps. What are the next goals now? I do. Just don't get content with, oh, I've achieved, like, I'm done with this certification, it's all good, and I'm good to go. No, this is a, as Vishaka said, this is a continuous improvement process. This is a journey rather than a destination. So start making progress towards it every day, and every week, and start measuring those KPI, and then report to your leadership. I know that will matter. As it said, 1 to 2 years it takes time for getting that certification. It's a big goal. Even you don't have to stop after getting certification. You need to continuously improve that process, and see what are the gaps and how you can further improve it. Uh, Anything else I missed, Vishaka or Sendunu, you want to cover before we touch on the next slides?
Yeah. No, I think we are almost there now, very close to the close. So, any closing thoughts, Vishaka? What would you want to leave our MSMEs with, listeners with?
Uh, I would say that MSMEs should definitely look at ESG documentation, uh, whichever format is they can start with easily. They should definitely start, and they should also make sure that whichever tender they're applying for, uh,
Mm,
whichever company they are vendors to, they should make sure that that is highlighted,
Mm-hmm.
that they highlight their efforts on the ESG aspects, not just to their vendors or customers, but also to the government, and take benefit of the evolving landscape. And it's a very vibrant landscape, and it has a lot to offer to the MSME sector.
mm.
Very
So
safe.
it is the right time to get to harvest the benefit out of it. Yeah.
Very well
Yes.
said.
I
Yeah,
would
and
say it's like working on your ESG muscle and then flaunting it with all the hours and hours that you have put in lifting those weights. I think that's certainly going to benefit the MSMEs
Definitely.
playing in the premium market or playing in even the wider market. For I think any MSME aspiring for a growth mindset or with a growth mindset, I feel this topic, the ESG topic, can certainly be a big lever for them to really make a step change into their growth trajectory.
100% can't agree more. And for listeners who want to connect with Vishakha or learn more about OrjaBox work, visit www.orjabox.com. Is that right, Vishakha?
Yes,
Uh,
yes,
and
absolutely.
I'll put that in the show notes and also in our LinkedIn notes. And for everyone listening, schemes we discussed today, Z certification, all that, this all information will be there in the presentation. So feel free to access it. And also do let us know how you like this episode. You have any questions, reach out to us anyway. And what topics you would like us to cover in next sessions, just do let us know, because we all we are here to help you out. So SMEs out there, your success is our success. Do not hesitate and just keep engaging with our content. That is exactly what we want to do. Thank you all with your time. A closing thought, Shantanu and Vishakha,
No,
before.
I just want to thank Vishaka again. I have, at least speaking about myself, I'm coming out richer after these 60 minutes. I think I thought I knew something about this thing, but now I know that there were many things that I didn't know about, and
Mhm.
now that I do know them, it has certainly piqued my interest. I would uh, again encourage all the listeners to reach out to Vishakha, really see what kind of work she has done in
Incredible.
this, in this ESG section or the sector, and it's quite inspiring. And I would be glad to again get your thoughts on how best you are going to put these things to your own use. That would be a good feedback for us. What is it? What is the one thing that you are going to do after this to kickstart your ESG journey? So thanks a lot, Vishaka, for your time and for all the insights that you have shared. Really an enriching discussion that at least I had.
Absolutely. Can't
Uh,
agree more. Thank you, Vishakha. Thanks a lot.
Thank
All
you.
right. We end this episode. We'll see you next week. And do let us know how you like this episodes, and provide our feedback to us. Thank you. Bye.
Great. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.